Hi, Boker Tov, good morning. Very happy to be here. Listened very carefully to the lectures before me and thinking to myself when, Shimon asked how many people know Redshift, BigQuery, and from the answers that I kind of heard or figured out, I think there's like a very different mix of people here in very different places, right? But everyone is interested in big data in some way or another. So I will present Google's view of big data. I think it makes sense for Google to speak about big data, since we do big data. This is just about what we do. And we'll see how it goes, and we'll leave time for questions. So the importance of data is, it's clear to everyone. Big data is a trend, right? It's not a trend anymore. It's been around for years. People still speaking about it. And I think that the major question for big data is what to do, right? How to do it. There are a lot of different options out there, right? And I'm sure that you're thinking, whether you're a developer or a big data specialist, you're thinking what is the right way to do things, right? So sorry, I don't have a clear answer of, okay, this is how you do it, right? There's no one clear answer. It really depends on where you are as a company, what you have done so far, and where you want to go, right? So the big thing is to understand what to do with the data. What do I want to do, first of all, with it, and then go and solve the technical questions, and I'm going to introduce you to a couple of solutions, right? And how do I implement it? And speaking about data, we're going to also mention the next step, which is what everyone is talking about, which is machine learning, right? Can't go anywhere without hearing about machine learning. That's the next big thing. So I did mention Google as a big data company. We started out as a company, as two people that had their own mission, right? They said, let's organize the internet. This internet thing is looking pretty interesting. Let's try to organize it. Let's try to make it very easy for people to search the internet, to understand what's going on. And since then, we grew amazingly, as you all know, right, in terms of the services that we offer. And I'm talking about, whether it's Gmail or YouTube or Maps, right, for example, or whatever it might be. We have a lot of data that we need to understand what to do with it, right? What do we do with this? So just an example of Street View. You all know Street View, right, for Google Maps. So the car that goes around, right, and takes the pictures and lets you then dive into the map and see what's going on. So we started from there. We wanted to map out streets, right? But then we said, listen, there are so many things that we can get from this picture. It doesn't end with a picture of a building. We can get numbers, we can get business names, traffic lights. Now try to think bigger, right, than the initial purpose of why you put that, car with a camera. What can we do with all this information? And we can do a lot of things. So I won't mention smart cities, which is something that Google is highly involved in today, specifically in New York. Anyone who's interested, we can talk about that later. But we are looking at the data and what we can do with it. So, big data, we're talking about this from, the minute we got here and probably before. What are the challenges? Why isn't it easy? And it's not easy. And we talk to companies, we talk to startups, we talk to small, medium businesses, we talk to enterprises. Is there anyone here from enterprises? Hello, all right. Not jealous, right? Not jealous of you because it's that much harder. It's that much harder for organizations that are very mature and want to do big data, a lot harder than a startup that's starting out and has a lot more freedom. And the challenges for all of these companies, it's pretty much the same. What kind of data do I get? Where are my data sources? How do I prepare the data? How do I visualize it? I just met with a customer, with a startup, that has an amazing big data solution, but why is he doing it, right? Why is he doing this big data? To get business decisions, right? To drive business decisions. So he's showing me, on all the big data project that he's done, he's showing me the final results that he shows to management. And it's in a sheet, a Google Sheet. So Google Sheet is really cool, right? Yeah, it is. But it's a sheet, right? So the person that looks at it is not very impressed. and what he needs to do to refresh the data and all that is not the easiest thing or not the nicest way to visualize things. So how do you visualize the data, which is really, really important. Development and deploying, and you can read this and I will share my slides later, but I think that maybe I should pay attention to that one, the last one. How do you prepare for high performance and scalability, right? Today, I'm starting like this. Tomorrow, I'll be a lot bigger. So a lot of challenges there. A very nice sentence that the creator of Hadoop, co-creator of Hadoop said, right? Google is living a few years in the future and sending the rest of us messages. Which is pretty funny, but it's just the way it is. We needed to deal with this big data from way back then. And we came up with a lot of various solutions and ways for us, to build on this data and to continue to evolve and continue to be innovative, right? So why am I telling you about Google and where I'm from at Google? I'm not from Google Advertising or, Gmail or Maps or whatever. I'm with Google Cloud Platform, which is one of the global vendors of cloud. AWS, Google, Microsoft, IBM, right? Different hosters. So Google Cloud Platform is another cloud platform, right? Which has specialization in the big data area. Again, because that's what we're really good at. And what Google came to do is said, okay, this thing started out of, I have to give respect to AWS, who started it out, right? And said, let's offer solutions in the cloud. And then Google came and said, wait a minute, we did a lot of stuff for ourselves. We built a lot of data centers for ourselves, a lot of solutions for our engineering, for our services. Let's start to expose it and let customers enjoy what we have developed for ourselves. So when we look at the world of cloud, which is a very hot, trendy, interesting place, and we're just at the beginning of this cloud thing, right? So it went from first wave, which was co-location, which is virtualization, VMware, and others. Then we went to second wave, which is where we are today, virtualized data centers. And we're looking at going to the third wave. And the third wave is a real cloud that really lets you focus on your business and not on your infrastructure, right? And I'll show an example of how we do that. So a lot of information here. When we look at big data, we basically break it into 4 different parts. You need to capture the data, you need to store the data, you need to process it, analyze and visualize. You can look at it together or alone, it doesn't really matter. But if you look down there, there are a lot of things that you probably know, a lot of solutions that are, we meet customers again, and this is what they use. It's Kafka, Cassandra, different kind of databases, Spark, Hadoop. You probably are using this or that, right? And we are looking at the next wave. How do we do this in a seamless way? How do we give it as a service? So basically, again, you look at the various steps, right? How do you do data ingestion? How do you prepare the data? Which database do you want to use? And it was discussed before, NoSQL, SQL, right? So many to choose from. Storage, how do you explore the data? And so on, up until machine learning, right? Which is the brand new hot thing. So a lot again, and I started with this. And I think that if I would have been, a prospect or a customer looking into big data, I would be pretty confused, I have to say. A lot of different offerings. What do I choose? So we come out and we sit together with you and we think together, what are you doing? Where do you want to go? There are so many different options. Let's find the right way to do things, right? And see what you want to do. So basically, I like saying, everybody knows infra as a service, software as a service, platform as a service, right? The 3 pillars of cloud. So when we talk about big data, one of the offerings that we have is BigQuery, which Shimon also mentioned before. And we like to look at it as big data as a service, right? Because what we say is, listen, when you deal with this big data thing, you're going to go out and do a project. You're going to have a lot to deal with. You're going to have to do programming, provision of resources. You're going to handle the growth, reliability, deploying, improvements all the time, utilization, performance, so much to deal with. And we say, listen, we have the cloud today, right? So let us take a lot of those cares away from you. You focus on the insights and you focus on the programming because this is what you want to do. And we'll do the rest for you. You do not need to worry about reliability. Actually, when we start talking about this solution, BigQuery, then I get the question of, okay, what types of servers are running in the back? What type of databases? What's in the background? And I say, I don't know. They're like, okay, so maybe bring someone who does. No, nobody knows, right? It's a service. You don't care what's going on in the background. You start with something small. Tomorrow you're going to be a lot bigger. It's just going to grow. You don't care. You don't prepare for it. You don't do anything for that. And that's a pretty cool solution. So Ocado is just a very nice quote for them. They're an online supermarket, the biggest one in the UK. And they have been struggling with big data, doing a lot of projects. We came in, showed them 2 of our solutions, right? And they said, listen, unbelievable, right? Something that would have took us months to build out took us half a day because we didn't need to worry about a lot of the things that, we thought we would worry about. So that's pretty exciting. So we talked about the different options, right? We talked about wave 2. We talked about wave 3, which is where we want to go, where we are. But we do understand, that sometimes it's hard to do a huge jump to wave 3, right? To be auto everything, as we call it. So you can still go and implement what you feel comfortable. If you want to do Hadoop with local SSD, this is the kind of performance you're going to get, right? The options, again, are there for you, but you can come and take a lot of advantages, right, from the cloud, and basically pretty nice numbers for Google Cloud. I think the most interesting thing to look at here is a little company called Spotify, which is a story that we're really proud of. So Spotify ran their entire everything that is Spotify, local hosters, right? They had their own data centers, hosters, spreading out, a lot of work, a lot of maintenance, and finally they became so big that they said, listen, this doesn't work anymore. We don't need this. Why are we doing this? They went to the top vendors, did, try this, try that. They chose Google Cloud, which was very, very cool for us. It is very cool for us. But what they were mostly excited about was not the infrastructure. It was not moving their virtualized machines to Google Cloud Platform data center. BigQuery was very, very amazing for them. They said, oh my God, we can do big data in such a cool and easy way, right? Even got a quote from one of their big data specialists, right? Software engineer who does big data. BigQuery is the best thing that ever happened to me. We love those kinds of things. But a lot of, use cases, different use cases, and really it's just like a magic thing that you can do, which is very, very cool. So last but not least, right, we're talking about big data. Let's talk about the next step. Looking at big data, you collect the data, you analyze the data, you get your business insights, right, decision making, and we want to take it to the next level. Next level is machine learning, right? So I need to be very, based the right way with my big data in my organization, in my company, whatever, to be able to go to the next step. So anyone heard of TensorFlow? Yeah, all right. So TensorFlow is Google machine learning, right? It's a lot of the stuff that we learned over the years, open source out there. You can go, you can take those, algorithms and thoughts and build on that, which is an option. But another option, if you don't want to deal with a lot of what we talked about in the background, you can take it as a service, right? You can take the code or you can take it as a service. So jumping here, and I'll go back in a second, we are offering machine learning services. Again, the idea is to take off some of the load, right? To get you to deal with what you want to deal. So whether it's Google Translate, Vision API, Speech API, natural language, the next big thing, right, in machine learning is natural language. So we are letting you actually enjoy machine learning services from the cloud. Again, eliminate the time you need to get things up and running, right? And in today's world, fast is pretty crucial. How do we have all kinds of, machine learning knowledge, right? So probably noticed Google Photos, right? Inbox, Gmail, all kinds of features that you get. I love that in Inbox I get the reply and then I get 3 options to reply, right? I don't know if anyone saw that. But instead of writing my own, it really recognizes the context of the mail, of the email, and then it gives me 3 offerings on answers. And that is time, right? It saves me time. So that's just one example, but so many examples in that. By the way, it doesn't only come from Google as Google, it also comes from Google X, right? Which is where what we say in Google is where the cool stuff is at. So a lot of things that we understood and we, are taking in, using, and putting out there. So that's another option. So this guy's a nice guy, Eric Schmidt. Again, just reiterating the importance of machine learning and saying it will drive every successful huge IPO within the next 5 years. So I urge you, right, in the crazy technology time that we live in, I just urge you, if you're not doing big data yet, do it. I know it's easy to say, but try to understand how to do it and how to do it fast so you can go on to the next level, which is machine learning, right? That's just a thought. That's it.
Wow.
Thank you.
Nice thought.